All right, listeners, ready to level up your game?
Yeah,
I know I am.
absolutely.
Today, we are diving deep into the world of deception and power.
Ooh.
Straight from the source, Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. We're going right to the source.
Yes.
Specifically, we are unlocking the secrets hidden in CDs 3 and 4.
Oh, very cool.
Ever feel like you're,
Yeah.
swimming in a sea of sharks?
Yeah.
Well, today,
Mm.
we're learning how to become the biggest shark out there.
All right, I love it.
So-
I'm ready.
What's fascinating about Greene's work
Yeah.
is that he doesn't just tell us what to do.
No.
He shows us how these laws have played out in history.
Right. Yeah.
He uses real-life examples like
Electric.
to illustrate the often subtle,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes ruthless,
Yeah.
but always fascinating dynamics of power.
It's true.
Okay, so let's jump right in
Okay.
with Law 12.
All right.
Selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim.
Okay.
This one sounds a bit counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But I am intrigued.
definitely challenges our assumptions about honesty being the best policy. doesn't it? But
But
think about it. Sometimes a strategic display of honesty or generosity can be a powerful weapon.
Oh,
It can catch people off guard,
okay.
making them more receptive to your influence.
So it's not about being a saint,
No.
but about understanding the psychology of your opponent.
Exactly.
Okay.
Take the story of Victor Lustig,
Victor Lustig.
the con man who tricked Al Capone.
Oh,
He walked right into Capone's den
oh my goodness.
and proposed a scheme to double his money.
Okay.
Now, Capone, not exactly known for his trusting nature,
Right.
was skeptical.
Yeah, of course.
But Lustig had a plan.
There. I'm hooked.
hmm
What did he do?
He took the money,
Okay.
stashed it away,
Uh,
and then 2 months later returned empty-handed.
oh no.
He confessed that his plan had failed,
Really?
apologized profusely,
Wow.
even acted embarrassed.
So he was a good actor.
Oh yeah, he had to be to pull this off.
I mean,
This unexpected act of honesty completely threw Capone off balance.
wow. So he played the honest loser to win.
It's exactly what he did.
What happened next?
Capone, used to everyone having an angle,
Yeah.
was so disarmed by Lustig's apparent sincerity
Really?
that he ended up giving him $5,000 just for being honest.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, would you have fallen for that?
I don't know.
I mean, it's Al Capone.
It's Al Capone.
Right.
It's a brilliant example of how appearing vulnerable can disarm suspicion.
Oh.
Lustig tapped into a psychological principle.
Okay.
Sometimes when we're constantly on guard,
Yeah.
a display of honesty or vulnerability can be the most effective way to break down those walls.
So how can we apply this principle in our own lives without resorting to, conning a mob boss?
Well, of course, we don't want to do that,
Right.
but it's about recognizing that sometimes a well-placed compliment,
Oh, okay.
a sincere apology, or a small gesture of generosity can create a sense of trust
Okay.
and make someone more receptive to your ideas.
Oh.
Think about it. Have you ever received a genuine compliment from someone right before they asked you for a favor?
Yeah.
It's hard to say no when you feel like someone is being sincere and appreciative, isn't it?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to Law 13.
Right.
When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest.
Okay.
This one seems pretty straightforward,
It does.
but I'm sure there's more to it than meets the eye.
It's one of those laws that seems obvious on the surface, but when you really dig into it,
Yeah.
there's a lot of nuance.
Okay.
It's not just about understanding what someone wants.
Right.
It's about understanding their motivations,
Okay.
their fears,
Mm-hmm.
their aspirations.
Okay.
It's about framing your request in a way that aligns with their self-interest,
Oh.
making them see how helping you benefits them as well.
So it's not about being manipulative, but
Right.
about finding that win-win scenario.
Exactly. And there's a great historical example of this principle in action
Right.
back in ancient Greece.
Huh.
The island of Corcyra needed help from Athens.
Okay.
They were up against Corinth,
Right.
a powerful rival and an Athenian ally.
So a tricky situation.
Tricky situation.
Okay.
Corinth made an emotional appeal, reminding Athens of their shared history and past favors.
So they played the loyalty card.
The loyalty card, classic move.
What did Corsair do?
Corcyra,
Yeah.
instead of trying to tug at heartstrings,
Okay.
took a completely different approach.
Oh.
They laid out a purely pragmatic argument,
Okay.
highlighting how an alliance would benefit Athens strategically,
Okay.
boosting their naval power and influence in the region.
So they appealed to Athens's ambition.
Ambition,
Or
absolutely.
did it work?
It did.
Really?
The Athenians, known for their strategic thinking,
Right.
sided with Corcyra.
Wow.
This highlights a crucial point.
Okay.
In power dynamics, appealing to self-interest often trumps emotional pleas. People are more likely to act when they see a clear benefit to themselves.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
So how can we apply this in our own lives?
Think about it this way.
Okay.
When you're asking for a favor,
Yeah.
pitching an idea, or trying to persuade someone,
Yeah.
put yourself in their shoes.
Okay.
What are their goals?
Right.
What are their challenges?
Mm-hmm.
How can you frame your request in a way that aligns with their needs and aspirations?
Okay, I'm starting to see how this works.
Yeah,
So it's about being strategic,
absolutely.
but also about being empathetic and understanding the other person's perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to really drive this point home,
Okay.
let me tell you a story about Yelu Chukai,
Yeah, Luchikai.
a brilliant advisor to Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan. Okay.
Khan, known for his brutality,
Yes.
was planning to turn the fertile lands of northern China into pasture land.
Well, that doesn't sound good.
No, not at all.
What did Luchikai do?
He knew a direct confrontation wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So he appealed to Khan's greed. He pointed out that taxing the farms would generate far more wealth than grazing livestock.
Oh, interesting.
Khan, always eager for more riches,
Right.
changed his mind.
Wow.
Yelu Chukai saved millions of lives by appealing to Khan's self-interest.
Wow, that's
That's
incredible.
pretty amazing, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm officially convinced.
Not good.
Appealing to self-interest when done strategically and ethically can be incredibly powerful.
Incredibly powerful.
All right, I'm ready for some serious spycraft.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's move on to Law 14.
Right.
Pose as a friend, work as a spy.
Okay.
This one sounds a bit sneaky,
It does a little bit.
but I'm all ears.
This law highlights the importance of information and power dynamics.
Okay.
Sometimes to gain an edge,
Yeah.
you need to gather intel, understand the motivations and weaknesses of those around you,
Okay.
and sometimes that requires a bit of subtle detective work.
So we're talking about being observant,
Yes.
reading between the lines,
Mhm.
picking up on those subtle cues.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think of it as information gathering with charm.
Oh, I like that.
Our case study this time is the legendary art dealer Joseph Duveen.
Okay.
He had his sights set on landing Andrew Mellon,
Uh-huh.
a mega-wealthy industrialist, as a client,
Okay.
but Mellon wasn't a fan of Duveen's flashy sales tactics.
So what does he do?
He had to change his approach.
Go undercover.
In a way, yes.
Really?
Duveen, understanding the importance of knowing his target,
Right.
secretly put several of Mellon's staff on his payroll.
What?
They fed him information about Mellon's tastes, his habits, even his anxieties.
Wait, he was basically running aspiring to land a client.
He was.
Wow.
Dedication.
He was very dedicated.
Wow.
It sounds extreme,
Yeah.
but Duveen understood that knowledge is power.
Yeah.
He was willing to play the long game to gather intel that would give him an advantage.
And it worked.
It worked.
Really?
He eventually won Mellon over, making him his biggest client.
So what's the takeaway here for us mere mortals?
Who aren't art-dealing masterminds.
It's about recognizing the value of information and being a bit more strategic in our interactions.
Okay.
Think about those seemingly casual conversations you have with colleagues,
Yeah.
friends,
Mm-hmm.
or even potential clients.
Okay.
There's always an opportunity to gather information to understand their motivations,
Right.
their fears, their aspirations.
So it's like being a social detective,
Yes.
but in a charming, non-creepy way.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about being observant,
Yeah.
being curious, asking the right questions,
Right.
and listening attentively to the answers.
Okay.
You'd be surprised how much you can learn about someone just by paying attention to the little things they say and do.
Okay. That's actually pretty empowering.
It is.
I'm starting to feel like a secret agent already.
That's the spirit.
Hmm.
Remember, information is power, but it's how you use that power that matters.
Okay.
Always use it ethically and strategically,
Right.
and never underestimate the power of observation.
Okay. I'm ready for more.
Let's do it.
Okay. I am ready to dive back into the deep end of Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power.
All right.
We have already uncovered some seriously strategic insights.
Okay.
What is next on our list of power moves?
Let's talk about Law 15, crush your enemy. Totally. Now,
Okay.
before you get any ideas,
Yeah.
this isn't about physical violence or actual destruction.
Okay, good. I was starting to get a little worried.
No, no, no.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that in power dynamics,
Yeah.
sometimes leaving an enemy standing,
Mm-hmm.
even if they seem defeated,
Okay.
can come back to bite you.
Oh.
It's about being decisive,
Okay.
recognizing potential threats,
Mm-hmm.
and taking the necessary steps to neutralize them before they can regroup and retaliate.
So it's about being strategic, but also about being proactive.
Exactly.
Okay, I am intrigued.
Right.
What's our historical example for this law?
We have the story of two Chinese generals,
Okay.
Shang Yu and Liu Bang.
And you and Liu Bang.
Shang Yu was a powerful warrior,
Okay.
a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield.
Uh,
He had Liu Bang, his rival, on the ropes several times,
really?
but he hesitated, offered mercy, even hoped for reconciliation.
So he was a bit of a softy at heart.
Maybe.
What happened?
Well,
Did they become best buds?
unfortunately, no.
Oh.
Liu Bang, though not as skilled a warrior,
Yeah.
was cunning and opportunistic.
Okay.
He used those moments of reprieve
Right.
to gather his forces,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately leading to Shang Yu's downfall and suicide.
Wow.
Shang Yu's hesitation, his unwillingness to crush his enemy, completely proved to be his undoing.
Wow. That is a tough lesson.
It is a tough lesson.
So it's not just about being strong.
No.
It's about being decisive
Yes.
and recognizing when a situation demands a firm hand.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think about it. Haven't we all let someone off the hook, given them a second chance only to regret it later?
Yeah.
Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself
Yeah.
and for others is to be firm and decisive, to nip a problem in the bud before it grows into something bigger and more destructive.
Okay, that's a perspective I hadn't considered before.
Yeah.
It's not about being ruthless,
No.
but about recognizing that sometimes a clean break,
Yeah,
the decisive action, is the best course of action.
it can be.
Okay.
It's about strategic thinking, about recognizing potential threats, and taking the necessary steps to protect yourself and your interests.
Yeah.
A tough lesson,
Right.
but a valuable one.
All right, let's shift gears to something a bit more counterintuitive. Law
Okay.
16,
All right.
use absence to increase respect and honor.
Okay.
This one sounds a bit backwards.
It does.
Are we talking about playing hard to get?
In a way, yes.
Okay.
This law highlights the power of scarcity
Okay.
and how strategic withdrawal can actually amplify your influence.
Oh.
It's about recognizing that constantly being available, always being on,
Right.
can diminish your perceived value.
So it's like the old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Exactly. It's about creating a sense of longing, of desirability,
Yeah.
by making yourself less accessible.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this works.
All right.
What is our historical example for this law?
We have the story of Deioces, a wise judge in ancient Media.
Deioces.
He was renowned for his fairness and wisdom,
Okay.
and people flocked to him for guidance and resolution.
Right.
But at the height of his influence,
Yeah.
he did something unexpected.
He quit.
He did.
Retired to a beach somewhere?
Well, he abruptly withdrew from public life, complaining of neglected personal affairs.
Really?
The country, without his steady hand, descended into chaos.
Oh.
The Medes, desperate for his leadership, begged him to return this time as their king.
So he played hard to get and it worked.
It did.
Wow.
Deioces recognized that his constant availability had made people take him for granted.
Right.
By withdrawing, he created a vacuum,
Yeah.
a sense of longing for his leadership.
Right.
And when he returned,
Yeah.
it was on his terms with even greater power and authority.
That's a brilliant example of how strategic absence can amplify your influence.
It really is.
How can we apply this principle in our own lives?
Well,
I mean, I can't just disappear from work for a few months and expect to get promoted, right?
right. It's not about literal disappearance,
Okay.
but about recognizing that sometimes stepping back, creating a bit of distance,
Yeah.
can actually make you more desirable, more sought after.
Okay.
Think about personal branding, for example.
Right.
Have you ever noticed how those experts who are constantly sharing their knowledge, always available for a quick consult,
Uh-huh.
tend to be less valued than those who are more selective with their time and expertise?
That's a great point. It's like that saying, familiarity breeds contempt.
Mm.
The more you're around, the less special you become.
Exactly.
Right.
And this applies to so many areas of life.
Okay.
Think about dating, for example.
Right.
Playing hard to get, creating a bit of mystery
Yeah.
can make you more attractive, more intriguing.
Okay.
It's about understanding the psychology of desire
Right.
and recognizing that sometimes a little bit of distance can go a long way.
Okay. I am definitely going to start implementing this strategy.
Right.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
That's right.
And apparently, it can also boost your influence and make you more desirable.
And more desirable.
That's right.
Love it. It's a subtle art, but a powerful one.
Okay.
Just remember, it's about strategic withdrawal,
Right.
not complete isolation.
Okay.
You still need to maintain those connections,
Mm,
nurture those relationships,
right.
but do it in a way that creates a sense of longing, of wanting more.
Okay, got it.
Right.
All right, let's move on to Law 17.
Okay.
Keep others in suspense. Cultivate an air of unpredictability.
Ooh. I like this one.
This one sounds a bit more like mind games.
It is a little bit.
Okay.
It's about understanding the power of unpredictability,
Right.
of keeping your opponents guessing.
Okay.
When people can't predict your moves, they're off balance,
Right.
constantly trying to figure you out.
Right.
This can give you a psychological advantage, creating a sense of unease and even fear.
So it's about being a bit of a wild card, keeping people on their toes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A great example of this is the legendary chess match between Bobby Fischer and Boris Spassky.
Oh, yeah.
Fischer, leading up to and during the match,
Right.
was a master of unpredictability.
Okay.
He was deliberately late,
Really?
made outrageous demands, complained about everything.
Wow.
His behavior seemed erratic,
Yeah.
even insane to some.
So he was basically playing mind games before the match even began.
He was.
Could it work?
It did.
Oh.
This psychological pressure completely unnerved Spassky,
Okay.
who was known for his calm and calculated approach.
Right.
Fischer's unpredictability made it impossible for Spassky to analyze his patterns, to anticipate his moves.
Oh.
It threw him off his game and ultimately contributed to his defeat.
Wow. So a little bit of unpredictability can go a long way, not just in chess, but in life, too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's about disrupting expectations, keeping people guessing.
Okay.
Think about small, unexpected actions you can take to gain an advantage in negotiations, creative endeavors, or even just everyday interactions.
So it's not about being erratic or unreliable,
No,
but about strategically introducing an element of surprise.
exactly.
Okay.
It's about keeping people on their toes, making them wonder what you'll do next.
Right.
This keeps them off balance, giving you a subtle advantage.
Okay. That's a pretty powerful tactic.
Yeah.
I am going to have to start practicing my unpredictable face.
Just remember, it's about strategic unpredictability, not about being chaotic or untrustworthy.
Right.
The goal is to create a sense of mystery, of intrigue, while still maintaining your integrity and credibility.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to a cautionary tale.
Okay.
With Law 18,
Right.
do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous.
Yes.
This one sounds a bit more serious.
It is more serious.
Okay.
This law reminds us that while retreating into isolation might feel safe and comforting,
Right.
it can actually make you more vulnerable in the long run.
So it's about the dangers of cutting yourself off from the world.
Exactly.
Okay.
When you isolate yourself, you create an echo chamber,
Right.
a world where you only hear your own thoughts and opinions reflected back at you.
Yeah.
This can lead to distorted thinking, a lack of perspective,
Right.
and ultimately make you an easier target for those who might seek to exploit you.
Okay. I can see how that could be dangerous.
Yeah.
What is our historical example for this law?
We have the story of Qin Shi Huang,
Qin Shi Huang.
the first emperor of China.
Okay.
He was obsessed with immortality and terrified of assassination.
Oh, wow.
He built a massive palace,
Okay.
a fortress designed to keep him safe and isolated from the world.
So he was basically living in a self-imposed lockdown.
Pretty much.
Wow.
He had secret passageways,
Really?
hidden chambers,
Okay.
and he even slept in a different room each night to evade potential attackers.
Oh, my goodness.
But his fortress became his prison. Cut off from vital information and diverse perspectives,
Right.
he became increasingly paranoid and vulnerable to manipulation by those within his inner circle.
Oh.
Well, it's believed he was likely poisoned by those he trusted most.
Wow. What a tragic irony.
Yeah.
He built a fortress to protect himself, but it ultimately led to his downfall.
It did.
So what's the takeaway here?
Oh,
How can we avoid falling into the trap of isolation?
It's about recognizing that connection is crucial for survival and success.
Okay.
We need diverse perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
challenging viewpoints,
Right.
and honest feedback to keep us grounded, informed, and resilient.
So it's not about being a social butterfly, but about cultivating those relationships.
Yes.
Seeking out those mentors and advisors
Absolutely.
who will challenge us.
Yes.
And staying connected to the world around us.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that isolation might feel safe in the short term,
Yeah.
but it ultimately weakens us and makes us more vulnerable to manipulation and exploitation.
Okay. That's a powerful message.
It is.
I'm definitely going to be more mindful of my own tendencies towards isolation.
I think that's a good idea.
All right. Speaking of understanding the people around us,
Okay.
Let's dive into Law 19.
All right.
Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person.
Okay.
This one seems pretty straightforward,
It does.
but I'm sure there's more to it than meets the eye.
It's about recognizing that not all opponents are created equal.
Okay.
Some are easily intimidated.
Right.
Others are fueled by challenges. Misjudging someone's character,
Yeah.
their temperament
Right.
can have disastrous consequences.
So it's about doing your homework, understanding the psychology of your opponent before you make a move.
Exactly.
Okay.
Our historical example this time features a clash of empires.
Okay.
Shah Muhammad of Khwarezm versus Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan. Okay.
Shah Muhammad,
Uh-huh.
ruler of a vast and wealthy empire,
Okay.
received an envoy from Genghis Khan
Uh-huh.
proposing a trade alliance.
Okay.
Muhammad.
Yes.
Seeing Khan as an inferior barbarian, dismissed the offer and executed the envoys.
Oh, that's not good. You never want to anger Genghis Khan.
No, you don't.
Right.
It was a fatal mistake.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Khan, enraged by this insult,
Oh, yeah.
unleashed his wrath upon Muhammad's empire, crushing it completely.
Wow.
Muhammad,
Yeah,
blinded by arrogance and pride,
right.
had fatally underestimated his opponent.
That's a pretty powerful reminder to choose your battles wisely.
It is.
So it's not just about avoiding conflict,
No.
but about understanding the potential consequences of your actions and accurately assessing the character of those you're dealing with.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that sometimes the most dangerous opponents are those who are underestimated,
Right.
those who are driven by a deep sense of purpose or a thirst for revenge.
Oh,
Never make the mistake of assuming someone is weaker than they appear.
okay, good advice.
Yes.
Okay, on to Law 20.
Uh-huh.
Do not commit to anyone.
Okay.
This one sounds a bit cynical. A little bit.
But I'm guessing it's more nuanced than that.
It is.
Okay.
This law is about strategic non-alignment,
Okay.
about maintaining your autonomy and power dynamics.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that aligning yourself too closely with any one person or ideology
Mm-hmm.
can limit your options and make you vulnerable to their influence.
So it's about playing the field, keeping your options open.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt pressured to choose sides in a conflict,
Mm-hmm.
to align yourself with one group or another?
Yeah.
It can be tempting to seek safety in numbers,
Right.
but sometimes staying neutral, maintaining your independence,
Yeah.
give you more leverage and flexibility.
Okay, I can see how that could be advantageous.
It can be.
What's our historical example for this law?
We have Queen Elizabeth I,
Queen Elizabeth.
the Virgin Queen herself.
Of course.
She was a master of this principle,
Okay.
faced with constant pressure to marry and form alliances.
Right.
She skillfully navigated the treacherous waters of court politics.
Yeah, by keeping her options open.
So she was playing the game, but on her own terms.
Exactly.
Okay.
She entertained suitors, played them against each other,
Wow.
but never fully committed to any one party.
Okay.
This kept her in control, allowed her to maintain her power and independence.
That's incredibly clever.
It is.
But how can we apply this principle in our own lives without seeming manipulative or aloof?
It's about setting boundaries, prioritizing your own goals, and being cautious about aligning yourself too closely with any one person or ideology. It's about recognizing that you have the right to choose your own path, to make your own decisions without being beholden to others.
Love it.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to a law that sounds particularly intriguing. Law 21.
Okay.
Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark.
This law explores the disarming power of playing dumb.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that sometimes appearing less intelligent than your opponent can lull them into a false sense of security,
Right.
making them more susceptible to manipulation. So it's about using people's vanity against them,
It is.
making them feel smarter than they are.
Exactly.
Wow.
Our story this time features a diamond mine scam.
Okay.
So audacious. It's almost unbelievable.
Huh.
Two prospectors, Arnold and Slack,
Arnold and Slack.
conned some of the wealthiest financiers of their time with a cleverly orchestrated scheme.
Okay.
They discovered a diamond mine,
Uh-huh.
salted it with real gems,
Oh, wow.
and then played the role of naive country bumpkins to perfection.
Wait, they pretended to be dumb to get rich.
They did.
How did that work?
Their apparent naivety disarmed suspicion.
Oh,
They seemed so clueless, so easily manipulated,
right.
that the financiers had never suspected they were the masterminds behind the scam.
Oh, wow.
They were eager to invest, believing they were outsmarting these simple country folk.
So it's about playing to people's egos, making them feel like they're the ones in control.
Exactly.
Wow.
By playing dumb, Arnold and Slack lowered their guard, making them more susceptible to manipulation.
Yeah.
They used the financiers' vanity against them,
Wow.
ultimately walking away with a fortune.
That's brilliant, albeit a bit devious.
Yes, it is.
But are there ethical ways to use this tactic?
Of course.
Okay.
Sometimes downplaying your expertise can encourage collaboration or make others feel more comfortable sharing their ideas. It's about creating a sense of psychological safety,
Yeah.
but always with ethical intentions.
Okay, on to Law 22.
Yeah.
Use the surrender tactic to transform weakness into power.
Okay.
This one sounds a bit like a paradox.
It is.
How can surrendering make you more powerful?
It's about recognizing that sometimes yielding, especially when you're in a weaker position,
Right.
can be a brilliant strategic move.
Oh.
It throws your opponent off balance,
Okay.
gives you time to regroup,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately allows you to control the situation.
So it's about choosing your battles.
Yeah.
Knowing when to retreat and when to advance.
Exactly.
Okay.
Our example for this law features the playwright Bertolt Brecht.
Bertolt Brecht.
Okay. And his encounter with the House Un-American Activities Committee.
Okay.
Brecht, a known communist sympathizer,
Right.
was summoned to testify during the height of McCarthyism,
Oh, wow.
while others took a confrontational approach,
Yeah.
risking blacklisting and imprisonment.
Right.
Brecht chose a different path.
So he cooperated?
He did.
Did he betray his beliefs?
Not at all.
Okay.
He appeared to cooperate, answering questions politely,
Right.
even wearing a suit, which he rarely did.
Yeah.
But beneath this facade of compliance,
Yeah.
he was subtly defiant.
Okay.
He used wordplay, vague responses,
Okay.
and even his interpreter to obfuscate his true meaning and mock the committee's authority.
So he played the game, but on his own terms?
He did,
Did it work?
brilliantly.
Really?
His seeming submission disarmed the committee members,
Wow.
making it difficult for them to attack him directly.
Okay.
He outsmarted them with his calculated yielding, maintaining his integrity while avoiding the negative consequences faced by those who resisted more openly.
That's an incredible example of strategic thinking.
It is.
So it's a reminder that sometimes appearing to give in can be a powerful way to gain control of a situation.
Exactly.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
requires discipline and a long-term vision.
Right.
But this tactic can be incredibly effective in negotiations arguments
Mm-hmm.
and even dealing with difficult people in everyday life.
Okay. On to Law 23.
All right.
Concentrate your forces.
Okay.
This one sounds pretty straightforward,
It does.
but I'm guessing there's more to it than meets the eye.
This law highlights the power of focus
Okay.
and how diffusing your energy across multiple fronts can lead to weakness and vulnerability.
Right.
It's about recognizing that sometimes less is more.
So it's about prioritizing.
Yes.
Focusing on those key objectives that will have the biggest impact.
Exactly.
Okay.
Our cautionary tale for this law comes from ancient China,
Okay.
the story of the kingdom of Wu's downfall,
The Kingdom of Wu.
Yeah.
Okay.
driven by ambition.
Huh?
The kingdom embarked on a series of conquests, spreading their forces thin across a vast territory.
So they got greedy and overreached.
Precisely.
Okay.
They ignored warnings from their wise advisor Wu Zixu,
Huh?
who predicted their downfall.
Wow.
Their ambition blinded them to the threat posed by the neighboring state of Yu, which ultimately conquered them.
That's a tough lesson.
It is.
So it's not just about being ambitious,
No.
but about knowing when to consolidate your power and focus on key objectives.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Haven't we all spread ourselves too thin at times trying to juggle too many projects,
Right.
commitments, or goals?
Yeah, all the time.
It's tempting to try to do it all,
Right.
but sometimes the most effective approach is to focus our energy on those few key areas where we can truly excel.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, on to Law 24.
Right.
Play the perfect courtier.
Mm.
Does this one still apply in modern times?
It does.
We don't exactly have royal courts anymore, do we?
We don't.
Right.
While the setting may have changed, the underlying principles of courtly conduct are surprisingly relevant even today.
Oh, okay.
Think about office politics,
Right.
social dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
and the unspoken rules that govern how we interact in various settings.
So it's like navigating a social chessboard.
Exactly.
Okay.
The rules of court politics
Yeah.
emphasize the importance of appearance, indirection, and social intelligence.
Okay, I am intrigued.
Okay.
What are some of the key laws of court politics that we can apply in modern settings?
Well, there's a whole list, but a few stand out.
Okay.
Avoiding ostentation,
Right.
being frugal with flattery, mastering your emotions,
Yeah.
being a source of pleasure, adapting your style to the person you're dealing with.
Right.
These are all timeless principles that can help you navigate any social hierarchy effectively.
So it's about being strategic, but also about being charming and socially adept.
Exactly. It's about understanding the unspoken rules of the game and playing them gracefully to achieve your goals.
Love it. Okay, on to our final law for this part of our deep dive.
Right.
Law 25.
Okay.
Recreate yourself.
This law encourages us to take control of our own narratives
Oh.
and craft an identity that commands attention and transcends the limitations imposed by society.
Wow.
It's about recognizing that we have the power to shape our own identities, to choose the roles we play in the world.
So it's about being the author of our own destiny.
Exactly. Our case study for this law is the fascinating story of Aurore Dupin,
Aurora Dupin.
a brilliant writer in 19th century France.
Okay.
She faced the societal constraints placed on women writers,
Right.
so she made a bold move.
Okay.
She adopted a male pseudonym,
What?
George Sand,
Wow.
dressed in men's clothing, and embraced a masculine persona.
Wow, that's a radical transformation.
It is.
Did it work?
It did.
Wow.
This new identity allowed her to access circles and opportunities denied to women of her time. She became a literary sensation,
Wow.
proving that sometimes reinventing yourself can be the key to overcoming limitations and achieving your full potential.
That's an inspiring story.
It is?
So it's not just about changing your appearance, it's
Okay.
about changing how you see yourself,
Yes.
how you present yourself to the world.
Exactly. It's
Okay.
about recognizing that the roles assigned to us by society might not reflect our true selves or our full potential.
Right.
Reinventing yourself, crafting a new identity can be a powerful act of self-empowerment and a way to transcend those limitations.
Okay, that's pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
So we have covered a lot of ground here, from the importance of strategic honesty
Yes.
to the power of calculated absence, from the dangers of isolation to the art of reinventing yourself.
It's a lot.
It is.
It is amazing.
It's clear that these laws, while sometimes controversial, offer valuable insights into the dynamics of power and how to navigate the complex world of human behavior.
It's true.
Right.
It's fascinating stuff.
Okay.
It's important to remember that power, like any tool,
Yeah.
can be used for good or ill.
Right.
The key is to understand these principles, to be aware of the dynamics at play,
Right.
and to make conscious choices about how we wield our own power in the world.
Absolutely. We have still got more laws to uncover, so stay tuned for part 3 of our deep dive into the 48 laws of power.
Yes.
We will be back to explore even more strategies for achieving your goals and navigating the world with confidence and influence.
I love it.
All right, we are back and ready to unlock the final set of power moves from Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power.
Yes.
I'm feeling pretty strategic already,
Yeah.
but I'm sure there are even more mind-blowing insights waiting for us.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah.
The last part of Greene's book is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
He dives into the more subtle psychological aspects of power,
Great.
those principles that can help you shape perceptions, influence decisions, and ultimately achieve your goals.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's hear those power moves.
Let's start with Law 26. Keep your hands clean. Use others as pawns and screens to disguise your involvement.
Ooh, this one sounds a bit sneaky. Are we talking about throwing someone under the bus to save our own skin?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that in power dynamics, it's often advantageous to maintain a degree of separation from those messy situations that can tarnish your reputation.
Okay.
It's about being strategic, using others to carry out your plans while keeping your hands clean.
Okay, so delegating but with a Machiavellian twist?
Yeah, you could say that.
What's our historical example for this law?
We have the story of Cao Cao, a powerful general in ancient China.
Okay.
During a campaign, his army faced a food shortage.
Uh-oh.
The soldiers started grumbling, suspecting Cao Cao of hoarding supplies.
Right.
He needed a scapegoat and fast.
Oh, mutiny on the horizon. What did he do?
He chose the chief of commissariat,
Okay.
accusing him of mismanagement,
Oh.
and publicly executed him.
What?
This act, while brutal, shifted blame away from Cao Cao. Cao quelled the unrest and reinforced his image as a decisive leader.
Wow, that's cold-blooded but effective. So it's about protecting your reputation even if it means making tough choices.
It's about recognizing that perception is reality, especially when it comes to power.
Right.
Leaders often need to distance themselves from mistakes
Yeah.
and find ways to maintain a positive image.
Makes sense. It's like that saying, it's not the crime, it's the cover-up.
Exactly.
Right. But this law isn't just about scapegoats, right?
That's right. It's also about strategically using others to carry out your plans.
Yeah.
Those tasks that might be unsavory or risky,
Right.
think of it as delegating with a purpose.
Okay, on to Law 27. Plan people's need to believe to create a cult-like following.
Okay.
This one sounds a bit intense. Are we talking full-on cult leader vibes here?
Not necessarily a cult in the traditional sense,
Okay.
but this law highlights the human need for belonging, for something to believe in.
Right.
Those who can provide that sense of purpose and community can amass significant influence.
So it's about tapping into people's desires, offering them something to believe in that fills a void in their lives.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think about charismatic leaders throughout history.
Right.
They often tap into a deep-seated need for hope, for change,
Yeah.
for something bigger than themselves.
No. Okay, that makes sense. Any examples of leaders who've mastered this art of persuasion?
Think about Mahatma Gandhi, who inspired millions with his message of nonviolent resistance.
Right?
He provided a clear vision,
Yeah.
a set of principles, and a sense of community that united people under a common cause.
That's a powerful example. But this principle can also be used for less noble endeavors, right?
Fortunately, yes.
All right.
Think about charismatic leaders who exploit people's vulnerabilities for personal gain.
Right.
Cult leaders,
Yeah.
demagogues. Even manipulative salespeople can use these principles to create a following and achieve their goals.
So it's a double-edged sword. It's about understanding the power of belief,
Yes.
but also recognizing the potential for manipulation.
Precisely.
Right.
It's crucial to be aware of these dynamics, both as a leader and as a follower.
Okay.
Critical thinking,
Yep.
questioning assumptions,
Right.
and being wary of those who offer easy answers are essential safeguards.
Great advice. Okay, moving on to Law 28, interaction with boldness.
All right.
This one sounds a bit more straightforward, but I'm sure there's more to it than meets the eye.
This law emphasizes the importance of decisiveness
Okay.
and how hesitation can undermine your authority.
So it's about taking charge, seizing the moment, and not second-guessing yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think about it. Boldness, even if it involves some risk, can inspire confidence in others.
Okay, I can see how that would be powerful.
Yeah.
Any historical examples of leaders who embodied this principle?
Think about Julius Caesar's audacious crossing of the Rubicon River.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was a bold gamble,
Right.
a decisive act that signaled his ambition and willingness to challenge the status quo.
Wow, talk about a power move. So it's not just about taking action, but about taking bold, decisive action.
Yeah.
Yet that commands attention and sets events in motion.
Precisely.
Okay.
And this applies not just to grand historical figures, but to our own lives as well.
Right.
Think about those moments where you've hesitated,
Yeah.
procrastinated, or allowed fear to paralyze you.
Yeah.
This law encourages us to embrace calculated risk,
Right.
trust our instincts, and take that bold leap forward.
Great advice. All right, on to Law 29 plan, all the way to the end.
Okay.
This one sounds like good advice in general, but how does it relate to power dynamics?
This law is all about strategic foresight.
Okay.
It's about thinking several steps ahead, like a chess grandmaster,
Right.
anticipating potential obstacles and planning for multiple scenarios.
So it's not just about having a plan, but about having a plan that accounts for contingencies,
Yes.
potential roadblocks, and even the end game.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that success isn't just about reaching a goal,
Right.
but about sustaining that success
Mm.
and anticipating the next move.
Okay. Any historical examples of leaders who mastered this art of long-term planning?
Think about Otto von Bismarck, the Iron Chancellor, who unified Germany through a series of carefully calculated political maneuvers.
Wow.
He didn't just react to events.
Right.
He shaped them,
Okay.
anticipating his opponent's moves and planning for multiple scenarios.
Wow. That's impressive. So it's about being proactive, not reactive, being the architect of your own destiny rather than a pawn in someone else's game.
Exactly.
I like it. Okay. On to Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless.
Okay.
This one sounds a bit like showing off, but I'm sure there's a more strategic element to it, right?
It's about recognizing the power of effortless grace, how concealing the effort behind your accomplishments can create an aura of mastery and mystique.
So it's about making it look easy, even if it's not.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think of a ballet dancer.
Right.
Their movements appear fluid and graceful,
Yeah.
but that ease comes from years of rigorous training and practice.
That's a great analogy. So it's about presenting a polished, confident facade to the world, even if you're battling challenges behind the scenes.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that people are more readily persuaded by those who appear to have mastered their craft.
Right.
Think about Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo da Vinci. Okay.
His genius spanned across various fields, and he seemed to excel effortlessly.
Right.
While we know he dedicated himself to meticulous study and practice,
Right.
he presented his accomplishments with an air of ease that further amplified his reputation.
So it's about owning your successes, but without bragging or revealing the struggle behind them.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about projecting an image of effortless competence,
Right.
which can inspire awe and admiration in others.
Okay.
It's about making it look easy even when it's not.
All right, on to Law 31. Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal.
Okay.
This one sounds like a high-stakes poker game.
It is a bit like that. This law is about manipulating the decision-making process, subtly influencing choices to ensure that the outcomes align with your desired goals.
So it's about setting the stage, creating the illusion of choice, while still steering things in your favor.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about being a master strategist,
Right.
understanding the psychology of your opponent,
Yeah.
and subtly guiding them towards the decision you want them to make.
Are there any historical examples of leaders who excelled at this subtle form of manipulation?
Queen Elizabeth was a master of this principle.
Queen Elizabeth again.
She excelled at playing her suitors against each other,
Right.
creating a dynamic where they competed for her favor, all while she maintained her autonomy and control.
So she was playing a game of chess, strategically moving her pieces to achieve her desired outcome.
Precisely.
Okay.
And this principle can be applied in various settings, from negotiations to strategic decision-making to even influencing the choices of those around you.
Okay. On to Law 32, play to people's fantasies. This one sounds a bit more psychological. What's the key insight here?
This law highlights the power of escapism
Okay.
and how understanding people's desires for a more ideal reality can be leveraged for influence and persuasion.
So it's about offering people a taste of what they crave, a vision of something better.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think about the American dream.
Right.
It's a powerful narrative that has fueled ambition and aspiration for generations.
Yeah.
It's a vision of upward mobility,
Right.
opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and a better life for oneself and one's children.
That's a fascinating example, but this principle can also be used for less idealistic purposes, right?
Think about advertising.
Right.
It often plays to our fantasies,
Mm-hmm.
creating a vision of a more glamorous, exciting, or fulfilling life that we can achieve through purchasing certain products or services.
So it's a double-edged sword. It's about recognizing the power of fantasy, but also being aware of how it can be used to manipulate or exploit.
Precisely.
Okay.
Critical thinking is essential.
Right.
It's about discerning between genuine opportunities and empty promises,
Right.
between aspirations that inspire growth and fantasies that lead to disillusionment.
Great point. Okay, on to Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew.
All right.
This one sounds a bit ominous. What's the key insight here?
This law is about recognizing that everyone has a thumbscrew,
Okay.
a weakness or vulnerability,
Right.
that when applied can influence their actions.
So it's about finding someone's Achilles heel, understanding what makes them tick.
Exactly.
Okay.
But it's not about exploiting people cruelly or for malicious purposes.
Right.
It's about understanding their motivations,
Okay.
their fears, their desires,
Yeah.
and using that knowledge to persuade, negotiate, or even help them overcome their limitations.
So how can we ethically use this knowledge to our advantage?
Think about the Athenian general Themistocles.
Themistocles, okay.
He successfully persuaded the Spartans to join forces against the Persian invasion by appealing to their deeply held values of honor and military glory.
So it's about knowing your audience, tailoring your message to resonate with their specific motivations and vulnerabilities.
Precisely. Okay.
It's about recognizing that one-size-fits-all approaches rarely work when it comes to persuasion.
Right.
Understanding individual psychology, those unique pressure points, can be the key to unlocking cooperation agreement or even behavioral change.
Okay. On to Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one.
Right.
This one sounds a bit ego-driven. Is this about demanding respect or putting on airs?
Not exactly. It's about projecting an aura of confidence and self-worth that commands respect.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that how you carry yourself, how you speak, and how you interact with others can influence how you're perceived.
So it's about acting the part even if you don't yet have the official title or position.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about Benjamin Franklin.
Okay.
Despite his humble origins, he rose to become one of the most influential figures in American history.
Right.
He projected an air of intelligence, wit, and self-assurance that commanded respect from both his peers and those in positions of power.
So it's about embodying those qualities that inspire respect and admiration. Confidence, competence, and a strong sense of self.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that true authority often comes not from a title, but from an inner strength and self-belief that radiates outwards.
All right, on to Law 35, master the art of timing. This one sounds crucial. What's the key insight here?
So this law highlights the importance of patience observation
Okay.
and recognizing that action taken at the wrong time can be ineffective or even counterproductive.
So it's about waiting for the right moment, striking when the iron is hot.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about understanding the rhythms of power,
Right.
the ebb and flow of events, and recognizing those opportune moments when action is most likely to yield the desired results.
Any historical examples of leaders who excel at this art of timing?
Napoleon Bonaparte was known for his ability to seize the initiative at the most opportune moments.
He understood the importance of momentum, of striking, when his opponents were vulnerable.
So it's about being strategic, but also about being adaptable and responsive to changing circumstances.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that timing is often a crucial element in success.
Yeah.
And that patience, observation, and the willingness to adapt are essential for achieving your goals.
All right, on to Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. This one sounds a bit like sour grapes, but I'm guessing there's a more strategic element to it, right?
It's about recognizing that fixating on what you lack,
Right.
on what's out of reach, can be a drain on your energy and focus.
That it's about letting go of those things you can't change and focusing on your strengths and opportunities.
Exactly. Think
Yes.
about the philosopher Socrates.
Socrates, okay.
Despite being unjustly accused and sentenced to death,
Wow.
he maintained his composure and dignity.
Right?
He chose to focus on his principles,
Okay.
his teachings, and his legacy, rather than dwelling on the injustice of his situation.
That's a powerful example of rising above adversity. So it's about choosing your battles wisely and not allowing yourself to be consumed by things you can't control.
Precisely.
Okay.
Sometimes the most effective response is to simply move on,
Yeah.
to focus your energy on creating a reality that transcends those limitations or setbacks you've encountered.
Okay. On to Law 37, create compelling spectacles. This one sounds a bit theatrical. What's the key insight here?
This law highlights the power of visual persuasion
Okay.
and how creating memorable experiences can capture attention and shape perceptions.
Right.
We are visual creatures,
Yeah.
drawn to spectacle and grandeur.
So it's about putting on a show, creating a sense of wonder and excitement.
Exactly. Think about Queen Elizabeth I.
Queen Elizabeth.
She understood the importance of royal pageantry.
Oh.
Her elaborate processions, grand ceremonies,
Yeah.
and carefully crafted image projected an aura of power and authority.
So it's about understanding the power of symbolism, of creating those memorable moments that resonate with people on an emotional level.
Precisely.
Okay.
And this principle applies not just to monarchs and rulers.
Right.
Think about the use of visuals in advertising,
Right.
marketing, and even in our personal lives.
Okay.
Creating compelling spectacles can be a powerful way to capture attention, influence perceptions, and make a lasting impression.
Okay. On to Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. This one sounds a bit like conformity, but I'm sure there's more to it than that, right?
This law is about the balance between individuality and social acceptance.
Okay.
While independent thinking is essential,
Right.
openly challenging social norms can be counterproductive.
So it's about picking your battles, knowing when to blend in and when to stand out.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think about Niccolo Machiavelli.
Machiavelli.
He was a proponent of ruthless pragmatism in leadership,
Okay.
but he also understood the importance of appearing virtuous and conforming to social expectations.
So it's about being true to your own principles, but also being aware of the social context and adapting your behavior accordingly.
Precisely.
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot between individuality and conformity,
Right.
between expressing your unique perspective while still maintaining social acceptance.
Okay. On to Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish. This one sounds a bit mischievous. What's the key insight here?
This law is about recognizing that calm waters can breed complacency.
Oh, okay.
It's about strategically creating disruption, to create opportunities or to gain an advantage.
So it's about being a bit of a troublemaker, shaking things up to see what opportunities emerge.
Think of it as strategic disruption.
Okay.
Sometimes you need to create a bit of chaos to reveal hidden opportunities
Yeah.
or to shift the balance of power in your favor.
Any historical examples of this tactic in action?
We've already talked about Queen Elizabeth I
Right.
and her mastery of playing her suitors against each other
Right.
by subtly encouraging competition and stirring up emotions.
Yeah.
She maintained her autonomy and kept her opponents off balance.
So it's about being a master strategist, understanding the dynamics of a situation and subtly manipulating them to your advantage.
Exactly.
I like it. Okay, on to Law 40. Despise the free lunch. This one sounds a bit cynical, but I'm guessing there's a deeper meaning here, right?
This law is about recognizing that things that come too easily are often undervalued.
Okay.
It's about the importance of self-reliance,
Okay.
hard work, and the satisfaction that comes from earning your rewards.
So it's about being wary of those things that seem too good to be true, those shortcuts that might lead to compromises down the line.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that true value often comes from effort
Yeah.
and the sense of accomplishment that comes from achieving something through your own hard work.
Any historical examples of this principle in action?
Think about the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius.
Marcus Aurelius, okay.
Despite his wealth and power,
Yeah.
he emphasized the importance of discipline and finding fulfillment in duty and service.
Right.
He recognized that true happiness came not from material possessions or unearned rewards,
Right.
but from living a virtuous and purposeful life.
That's a powerful reminder that the things we truly value are often those we've earned through our own efforts.
It is.
Yes.
It's about recognizing that the most fulfilling successes are often those we've worked hard for,
Yeah.
those that have challenged us and pushed us to grow.
Okay, I am ready for the final power move.
Let's do it.
Law 48. Assume formlessness. This one sounds a bit abstract. What's the key insight here?
This law emphasizes the power of adaptability and flexibility.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that rigidity can lead to vulnerability,
Right.
while those who can adapt and evolve are more likely to thrive in a world of constant change.
So it's about being like water flowing around obstacles and adapting to the shape of the container.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think about Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo da Vinci.
His genius spanned across art, science, engineering, and more. He wasn't confined by the rigid boundaries of a single field, but flowed effortlessly between them, constantly learning and evolving his approach.
So it's about being a lifelong learner, constantly challenging yourself and embracing new ideas and approaches.
Precisely.
Oh, yeah.
It's about recognizing that the world is in constant flux,
Right.
and those who can adapt,
Yeah.
who can embrace change and assume new forms,
Mhm.
are those who will ultimately thrive.
Wow, this deep dive into Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power has been incredible.
I know. No,
We have covered so much ground, from strategic honesty and calculated absence to the power of spectacle and the importance of adaptability.
a lot.
These laws offer a fascinating and sometimes controversial glimpse into the dynamics of power, influence, and human behavior.
It's true.
Remember, power is a tool. It can be used for good or ill.
Yes.
The key is to understand these principles, to be aware of the dynamics at play, and to make conscious choices about how we wield our own power in the world.
Absolutely.
That's such an important reminder.
It is.
We need to be mindful of our intentions. Use these strategies ethically, and always strive to wield our power in a way that benefits not just ourselves, but the world around us. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We will be back soon with another fascinating exploration of ideas that can help you level up your life and navigate the world with confidence and purpose.
I love it.